Everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns. Today's video, we're going to talk about which CO2 BB pistol has the most power. Now, there are certain questions that come up over and over again, and one of them has to be, one of the top ones at least, has to be, hey Mike, what is the most powerful CO2 BB pistol that I can get? I really need the most powerful one. And I'm not really sure what the draw is. I know specs are always a thing, like manufacturers are always trying to put the best specs on the box. You know, when it comes to technology, guns, it's all about the specs. People just seem to buy into that whole spec game, and FPS or velocity is definitely one of those things that seems to draw attention to guns. Manufacturers love to put the highest specs they can on there, especially when it comes to FPS, and sometimes they claim a little higher than what the actual real specs are. Some companies will actually claim a little lower, but in general I think most usually claim slightly higher, or at least they claim the highest possible in the best case situation, warm weather, brand new CO2, that kind of thing. Now the reality is that most CO2 BB pistols will generally shoot just over 400 FPS. Sometimes they get as high as 450. And most blowback BB pistols will shoot probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 350 to 400. Some are a little bit, slower. I've seen some blowback BB pistols shooting under 300. I've seen some non-blowback BB pistols shoot as high as up into the very close to 500 FPS range. That's pretty good. And as a matter of fact, this SIG here, when I cronied it, it shot 483 FPS with one of the shots. I think it averaged in the 470s. So that was actually quite unexpected, because on the box, this one claims 328. Now my question is this: what difference will it make if you're shooting a BB at 350 FPS versus, say, 450 FPS, right? I mean, I honestly think that some people believe that if they have purchased a CO2 BB pistol that shoots like a whopping 499 FPS, then they have maybe acquired this deadly weapon with crazy stopping power. Now, the truth of the matter is that even a 500 FPS BB gun, it's still not suitable for even shooting small pests or for hunting with. Now, you'd really only be causing that animal to suffer by shooting it with a lower powered CO2 BB pistol. So using an airgun for any kind of personal protection on, say, a human-sized target, it's completely out of the question. Now, I have addressed, is an airgun good for self-protection? I've got a video out there already about that, and the short of it is, no, you're not really going to be able to do much with a BB gun or even a high-powered airgun. Now, we're not talking about these 50 cal or these hunting rifles, but we're talking, pistol-sized air guns. They're just not good for any type of home protection. Now let's talk about what a CO2 BB pistol really is used for, right? Now you're probably going to be shooting things like pop cans or shooting paper targets, perhaps setting up some army men and picking them off one by one, stuff like that. So does it really matter if the BB's going 350 versus 450 FPS? It's still going clean through that pop can, even if you fill it with water. Even at 300 FPS, I've seen BBs go right through pop cans. Again, water-filled ones. Paper's really not going to be any kind of a match for a BB, a steel BB that is. We're not talking airsoft here. And an Army man in relation to a 4.5 millimeter steel BB, well, it's pretty much the size of a cannonball in relation, so you can imagine what's going to happen to that Army man. Now, when is power going to really be important in terms of CO2 BB pistols? Perhaps if you plan to shoot out at longer ranges, but the problem is that steel BBs, the 4.5 millimeter BB pistols, generally don't have rifled barrels, so that BB is just going to kind of be floating through the air. And in my experience, you can get pretty decent accuracy with BB pistols up to about 30 feet. I've even got half-inch groupings at 30 feet with steel BB pistols, so you can shoot pretty accurately with them up at closer ranges, again 30 feet or so. Now anything beyond that, because the BB isn't spinning, because there's no rifled barrel, the BB's just kind of going to tumble through the air, and the further out you shoot, the less accurate it becomes. And again, normally higher velocity is what you want when you plan to use your airgun for hunting or pest control, but as I said earlier, a CO2 BB pistol simply is not the tool for this job. Now, one comment I hear a lot from people is that they would prefer more power over blowback action, and that they feel that the blowback action is robbing the gun of too much power. Yes, blowback does sacrifice some power and CO2. It uses a little bit of that CO2 to operate the slide, but the benefits of the blowback, in my opinion, are worth the 50 or so FPS loss in power. And the plus side of blowback is it adds realism to the CO2 BB gun, simulating recoil, allowing true single action trigger operation, and many CO2 BB pistols will even lock the slide back on the last shot so that you know you're out of ammo and can practice your magazine drops and reloading. I quickly just want to go over some of the guns here just to give you some ideas. We do have some non-blowback BB pistols. Again, we have the Sig Sauer, right? This gun, again, I mean, in terms of the most powerful, this one probably is one of my most powerful CO2 BB pistols, coming in at around 480 FPS. You know, you really won't get much higher than that with any CO2 BB pistol. The barrels are just too short. CO2 does have a maximum velocity. You know, in a longer barrel, you might get as much as, I would say, maybe 600 FPS in a rifle with CO2, but that's about the maximum. In a pistol, you're probably going to be just under 500. That's just the reality of it all. Now, this is a blowback pistol here. I'll put the magazine in for you. Right, so it's blowback operation. Get my finger on there. Right, pretty cool. It's not full blowback, but it does go back quite a bit. Because it's not one of these full blowback, and what I mean by that is, here's a full blowback gun. See how much it does, the slide goes all the way back, true, you know, all the way back in relation to what the real gun would, so that it would actually eject a round properly, right? Some of these blowback guns only half cycle. It gives you the realism and basically the single action operation, but you know, it's just a shorter slide. Those guns will typically have a little more power because they're using a little less CO2 to operate the slide, right? So this gun here, I believe it gets up into the 400 FPS range. I think it got around 420 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, right? Whereas this gun here, this little Makarov will shoot just over 300, you know, maybe 350 on a good day, okay? So it's just because of the way the slide cycles all the way. I got this right here. Yeah, I think we do. Okay. Should have CO2 in this one too. So showing you how the slides lock back. See, when there's no BBs in it, if you don't have the slide catch down, it will lock back, letting you know that there's no more ammo, which is kind of cool. Non-blowback guns typically don't do that. Well, some will, but most of them really won't because the slide doesn't lock back. There's no way for it to. We have another guy here. This is my little Colt Defender. I believe it shoots, excuse me, right around the 450 range, just under. Nice little powerful little, you know, non-blowback BB gun if you want something like that. All metal, kind of cool. It's been very popular. Just a simple gun. And, you know, in terms of raw power, this isn't a BB gun, but this has got to be the most powerful blowback air gun that I've come across. You're only going to get maybe 30 shots with this gun because it's using so much CO2. This is the Umarex Desert Eagle, by the way. Blowback, let me just focus on that, right? And it's a blowback gun. It basically uses these little rotary mags, right? These little Umarex rotary mags. You put pellets in it, okay? So it's not a BB gun, it's a pellet gun. This gun will shoot up to 450 FPS using a 7 to 8 grain pellet. So, and it's incredibly accurate. So this has got to be, you know, one of the most powerful air guns. And, you know, I wouldn't say it's a pest control gun, but you could use it on really, really small pests because it is very accurate, especially with a red dot, and it does have some decent power. All right, that wraps up my video on which CO2 BB pistol has the most power. I know I didn't exactly put a nail on it, but if you are looking for power, definitely stick with non-blowback. Don't always believe what it says on the box. Maybe watch some reviews, get an idea of what they really shoot. And again, you know, is FPS really the most important thing? Personally, I don't think so. I would much rather have truer functionality, blowback, recoil, that kind of thing. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing your airgun. All right, thanks for watching another Replica Airguns video. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. Username is Replica Airguns. Also come on down to ReplicaAirguns.com where I have articles, post reviews, and of course we have our Canada and US online Replica Airgun stores where we sell airguns, BB guns, pellet guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, knives, and other accessories. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.